Good morning and welcome to the Better Thyself segment of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. Each one of us wants to have a great life, a purposeful life, a meaningful life. The very purpose of life is to live, to taste experience to the utmost, to reach out eagerly and without fear for newer and richer experiences. But many times we feel that our life has become meaningless, tasteless, and not worth living. It lacks a purpose and it lacks a direction. When you lack direction, when you lack purpose, the motivating force that propels you to go forward is lost. The momentum is lost and it's an insipid, tasteless life. And this happens to practically all of us at one stage or the other. It can happen when you're a teenager and you are not performing well. It can happen when you are at the start of your career, or it happens most often in the middle ages, the middle life crisis. But mostly it happens after retirement. What do you do? I fully appreciate the fact that having purpose enriches us, knowing that we can use our gifts to improve ourselves, our community, our society, and enhance people's life gives us a sense of a joy that cannot be described in mere words. A deep sense of satisfaction, connectivity, and fulfillment pervades us, and we emerge from our cocoons better human beings. But the issue is that this ever afflicting problem, life without purpose, is something, as I said earlier, eternal to the mankind. And let me tell you, if you are a real human being who wants to live life, then you can make your life matter even if your life lacks purpose and direction. I fully agree that purpose and direction are a must to live healthy, blissful, meaningful life. But if some time or the other you don't have the purpose and you lack the direction, even then you can live it and make your life better. And that is what is important. Is many times you would desperately seek purpose in your life because purpose is required to justify your very existence. But does it mean that if you do not have a purpose at one time or the other, your life becomes meaningless? I agree that most of us didn't deserve a life that didn't have a purpose. I have passed through that stage myself. And then we feel that we are unworthy of the love and happiness until we can offer something useful to the world. And until you find achievements and contributions to show how you and can matter as somebody special, something who means to the others, you make yourself suffer. The pursuit of purpose becomes the sole purpose of life. And that is where it is wrong. Purpose is required, but this obsession with the purpose dehumanizes you. And the failure to identify that what can give meaning to your life makes you feel stressed, ashamed, pointless. You are like a rudderless boat in the ocean of life. And that is because of devastating misunderstanding the purpose of life. It's tragic that something which is important becomes an obsession. As I said, purpose is important, but the obsession with the purpose is self defeating. Most of us spend our whole life chasing the purpose, desperate to achieve one important contribution to the mankind that can make you special, that can earn you recognition and approval and justify your existence. Deep down, you believe this to be a hoax. Deep down, you believe that you need recognition because you deem yourself to be worthless. This lack of self compassion, resulting in self pity, dehumanizes you, as I said earlier. You deem yourself to be an empty vessel, devoid of values and significance. And you assume that you can gain worth through your accomplishments, successes, qualifications, going higher up in the job scale, having larger cars, luxurious houses, going on cruises, and so on. And that's not the way life is. I fully agree, and I do not deny that at times the lack of purpose in life can create a painful worth deficit. And here is the challenge to life that even when, from the point of view of a common people, a purposeless life is a painful worth deficit, you have to make it worthwhile. You have to make it worth living. You don't have to feel inferior to the others who have made valuable contributions, earned approval, and admiration and status. That comes and goes. It is lack of worth that makes you feel empty and meaningless, not the lack of purpose. Until and unless you can realize the worth of your value. So if you want to value your life, even when it's purposeless, then you have to ensure that there's an extraordinary purpose that makes you worthy to live. And what's that empowering secret to a worthy life? Now, let me talk to you about. We have always been thinking that we must be useful enough to the world, which means that life would never matter. Your life would never matter. Your life would matter vis-a-vis its usefulness to others. But why do you forget that your life itself is important? Have you ever seen when a young baby is born? What's the reaction of a mom and a dad? You pick up the child, a bundle of puking, mewling noise, and then you're pervaded by a wave of happiness, a wave of ecstasy. You don't consider that life to be meaningless, but does the baby has any purpose or direction? The baby is dependent on the parents, the caretakers, the doctor, everything, for everything, even for the change of the diapers, for the food, for the milk, and so on. But the baby deserves all the happiness and love in the world. So without purpose, life has a meaning. The point is the baby is not aware of the worth deficit. You are aware of the worth deficit and thereby hangs a tail. What matter is that the baby exists. And the same analogy we can bring forward. You exist. Descartes said, I exist, I think, therefore I am. Existentialists might not agree with it, but I would say, yes, you exist and therefore you are, and you are capable of living. If you are not existing, then you cannot do anything, you cannot achieve anything. So the very purpose of life begins with the existence. You matter because you exist. And that childbirth should be the door to opening of your intelligence and your capability to comprehend that you have worth. It's not something that you earn, gain, or lose. It's inherent in human life. Every human life is worth of itself the moment it comes into existence. And whatever the troubles may be, whatever the travails may be, whatever the obstacles may be, whatever the impediments may be, the fact remains that you are existing. Worth is the essence of your being, absolute, inherent, unchangeable part of who you are. And the day you realize that being is an inalienable part of your existence, your life would matter. It will matter to you. It will matter to your partner. It will matter to the people who need you not for something material, but for the very reason of your existing. You are worth personified. Each one of you is 100% worthy of living. From the day you are born to the second you die, and even then beyond that, even after death, you are worthy. Your memories, your remembrances. Having a purpose, a goal to work for, is definitely required. It enhances your life. So you are worthy, all right, but the enhancement is because of the purpose. The enhancement is not that doesn't mean that you don't exist, that your life don't matter. Each life matters, and you have to recognize that whether you have a purpose and meaning to life from the worldly life point of view or not, your life does matter. As a matter of fact, having a purpose doesn't change anything about your worth, really. Your inherent worth remains the same. And it doesn't matter what your goal is. It won't change anything about your worth. Your worth is unconditional, unlimited, independent of your actions. Success, accomplishment, focus direction don't increase it. And failure doesn't decrease it because you are worth. You are a wonderful expression of life. And as such, you matter. So you have to find a way out of worthlessness. Your profession would always be a crushing pressure to achieve, outperform, and impress others. Knowing that sooner or later some purpose would be revealed to you without forcing it. Don't force it simply because you are focusing on the things you love. The liberating true purpose of life is that you are to come out of that morass of inherent worthlessness. You deserve happiness. Don't abandon life. Don't abandon living. You matter. And I believe the purpose of life is to be happy. The purpose of life is to grow, to thrive, to experience life to the fulfillment, and to drink life to the lees, to worry less about our achievements, our productivity, and the meaning of life, and to prioritize the things that we enjoy is living. And that you can do even if there's no purpose in life. You go out, enjoy the beauty of the nature. You hug trees, you immerse yourself in the waves of the ocean and the blowing of the wind. You dance with the butterflies. You wave with the flowers. You're not contributing anything, but you are living. You are experiencing an ecstasy which is beyond any expression. Because you can make your life matter, is to make it matter to you. What is important? How valuable you are to yourself. But once you recognize it, once you know your true worth and contribute a unique perception of this world, your life would matter. Be kind and compassionate. Take care of yourself and your loved ones. Help and support others as far as possible. And you don't need a purpose of life to do that. And do what you can love. Do it as much as you can. As I said, walk in the sun, enjoy the snowflakes, sit on the beach, lie on the grass, just because it feels good. And once you do things which make you feel good, you would find life to be meaningful. And do it without feeling guilty or beating yourself up for lack of purpose, without fear whether you are important enough, useful enough, intellectual enough, influential, significant, deserving. All those adjectives have no meaning. You don't have to justify your existence to prove your worth. Not to your parents, not to your spouse, not to your children, not to your family, not to your friends, not to your bosses, not even to society, and most importantly, not even to yourself. You don't have to justify. You are worth personified. You matter right here, right now. And as long as you recognize that you matter, whether there's a purpose of life or not, your life matters. Your personification of life. Live it, live it, enjoy it. That is worth living. Thank you.